Welcome back to another episode of the Worth Loving podcast. I am your host, Kiana W. Mitchell, and I'm so grateful that you're here with me today. So whether you're listening while you're getting ready for your day, taking a moment to yourself, or just settling into your evening routine, I want you, as I always say, to take a deep breath and allow yourself to arrive fully into space. This podcast is your weekly reminder that healing is possible, that clarity is available, and that you deserve relationships that honor your worth. Today we are diving into a topic that many people struggle with silently, and that is, why do I keep attracting toxic partners? And how do I finally break that cycle? So if you have ever found yourself in a relationship that you felt drained, you felt it was confusing or emotionally unstable, or if you just noticed that your partners tend to have similar unhealthy traits, you are not alone. Research shows that unresolved attachment wounds and early relational experiences often shape who we're drawn to and how we show up in relationships. These patterns aren't a sign that something's wrong with you. They're simply signals pointing to areas that need healing, compassion, and understanding. So my goal today is not to shame you or make you feel like you failed. Instead, I want to help you understand the deeper emotional and psychological roots behind these patterns so you can begin choosing healthy relationships that feel steady, neutral, and emotionally safe. Because once again, it's important for you to understand what's going on, because if you don't know why you're doing the same things over and over, you can't change it. Once you understand why you're drawn to certain dynamics, you can then have the power to choose differently. And that's where real transformation begins. Before we dive back into today's conversation, I want to take a minute to personally invite you into something very special, into my You Are Worth Loving signature coaching program. This is my 12-week trauma-informed coaching experience designed to help you break unhealthy patterns, rebuild your self-worth, and create emotionally safe relationships that actually feel good for your soul. If you've been listening to the Worth Loving podcast and thinking, I'm ready for deeper support, this is your next step. Inside the program, we work together one-on-one to help you reconnect with your voice, your boundaries, and your confidence so you can stop settling for relationships that drain you and start choosing ones that honor you. I'm only taking 3 clients for the month of May because I honestly want to give each person the time, energy, and care they deserve. So, if you've been waiting for a sign to start your healing journey, this is it. Click the Stan Store link in the show notes to apply or learn more. You are not too much. You are not broken. You are worthy of love, and you are worthy of relationships that feel safe, healthy, and whole. Now, let's get back to today's episode. So let's talk about why this pattern shows up in the first place. One of the most important things to understand is that we don't choose partners based on what's healthy. We choose based on what's familiar because that's what we're used to. The nervous system is wired to recognize patterns, even when these patterns are painful. Freud described this as repetition compulsion, the unconscious pull to recreate unresolved emotional wounds in an attempt to master them. Dr. Bessel van der Kolk later expands on this idea, explaining that trauma wires the nervous system to seek out emotional environments that mirror early experiences, even if those environments are harmful. Attachment styles also play a major role. According to Ainsworth and later researchers like Mikulincer and Shaver, the way we bond with a caregiver shapes how we bond with other people, including romantic partners. So you have had an anxious attachment style, you may feel drawn to emotionally unavailable partners because they activate your fear of abandonment, a feeling your nervous system recognizes. If you have an avoidant attachment style, you may choose partners who confirm your belief that closeness is unsafe and overwhelming. If you have a disorganized attachment style, you may find yourself oscillating between craving connection and fearing it. Low self-worth also plays a significant role. When your sense of self-worth has been shaped by your trauma, criticism, or emotional neglect, you may tolerate behaviors that violate your emotional needs. Dr. Judith Herman notes that trauma survivors often normalize chaos because it mirrors their early environment. And finally, many people confuse intensity with love, which is what we talked about last week, right? Dr. Patrick Carnes explains that the cycle of highs and lows, affection followed by withdrawal, creates powerful emotional bonds that feel like love but are actually trauma responses. So, just understanding these dynamics is the first step toward breaking free of toxic partners. Now that we've explored why these patterns form, let's talk about how they show up. Recognizing the signs is essential because awareness gives you the power to choose differently. One of the clearest indicators that you're attracting toxic partners is that you feel anxious, confused, or emotionally unstable more often than you feel safe. Healthy relationships create a sense of calm and predictability, not chaos. Another sign is that you find yourself over-functioning. You may be the one doing all the emotional labor, initiating conversations, repairing conflicts, or trying to quote-unquote fix the relationship while the other person remains distant or inconsistent. This imbalance often reflects deeper attachment wounds and a belief that you must earn love through effort. You may also notice that you ignore red flags because the connection feels intense. That intensity can feel intoxicating, especially if you never experienced steady, secure love. But intensity is not the same as intimacy. Another sign is feeling responsible for the other person's emotions. If you find yourself walking on eggshells, trying to manage their reactions, or sacrificing your needs to keep the peace, that's a sign of emotional enmeshment, not healthy connection. And finally, you may lose your sense of self in a relationship. You might abandon your boundaries, silence your need, or shrink parts of yourself to maintain that connection. Dr. John Gottman's research shows that emotional unpredictability and inconsistency are major predictors of relationship instability. If these signs resonate with you, it doesn't mean that you're broken. It means that you're becoming aware. So, how do we stop attracting toxic partners? Breaking this cycle is absolutely possible, and it all begins with building emotional intimacy with yourself. Dr. Kristen Neff's research on self-compassion shows that when we treat ourselves with kindness, we naturally raise our standards for how others treat us. Self-awareness helps you recognize your patterns, understand your triggers, and identify the emotional needs you've been trying to meet through relationships. Strengthening your boundaries is another essential step. Boundaries are not walls. They are expressions of self-worth. They help you protect your emotional space and choose relationships that align with your values. When you set boundaries, you teach others how to treat you, and you teach yourself what you deserve. Rewiring your nervous system is also key. In polyvagal theory, it teaches us that the nervous system responds to cues of safety. So when you slow down the pace of relationships, you give yourself time to discern compatibility instead of getting swept up in the chemistry. You learn to recognize the difference between excellence, excitement, and anxiety, between intensity and connection. And when I say excellence, I'm just talking about how someone treats you, how you want to be treated, what you expect out of a partner, right? What the kind of treatment you expect out of a partner. So redefining what attachment means is another powerful shift. Attachment isn't just butterflies. It's also peace, consistency, and emotional availability. Healthy love often feels steady, not overwhelming. So when you begin valuing emotional safety over emotional intensity, your relationship landscape changes. By default, it's just going to change. And finally, healing your attachment wound is essential. Dr. Daniel Siegel found that attachment styles can change through corrective emotional experiences like therapy, coaching, and internal healing. You are not stuck with the patterns you learn. You can absolutely move forward towards secure attachment, one choice at a time. As you begin healing and shifting your patterns, it's important to know what healthy love actually looks like. One of the biggest green flags is consistent communication. Healthy partners don't leave you guessing. They show up, follow through, and communicate openly. Another green flag is respect for your boundaries. A healthy partner doesn't push past your limits or make you feel guilty for having needs. Instead, they honor your emotional space and support your growth. Emotional availability is another essential quality. A healthy partner is willing to share their feelings, listen to yours, and encourage meaningful conversations. They don't shut down, withdraw, or punish you for expressing yourself. Accountability is another green flag. Healthy partners take responsibility for their actions. They apologize when necessary, repair ruptures, and show a willingness to grow. You'll also notice mutual effort. Healthy partners are reciprocal. Both people invest, both people care, and both people equally show up. Finally, the connection feels steady, not chaotic. Healthy love doesn't feel like a roller coaster, it feels like a rhythm, each grounded and emotionally safe. You feel like you can be yourself without fear or judgment of abandonment. You also feel like you're not going to be abandoned for having opinions. When you begin to recognize these green flags, you start to understand what you truly deserve. And the more you heal, the more naturally you'll gravitate toward partners who embody these qualities. The song we're going to listen to today is by our podcast artist, Emery Rose, and it is called Tired of Playing Games. So here's the song, Tired of Playing Games, by our podcast artist, Emery Rose.
You told me the other day you wanted to walk away. Every time we argue, you give me reasons why you don't wanna stay. I'm tired of being emotional, ups and downs. You're slowly tearing me down. I can't go on this way. Something has to change. These thoughts are running through my head, and I don't know what I should do. I'm afraid to commit to you. I don't know what to think about you. These thoughts are running through my head, and I don't know what I should do. I'm afraid to commit to you. I don't know what to think about you. I'm so tired of playing games. Playing games. 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 I don't know what you want to hear from me. I told you sorry a million times for all the things you said I've done to you. But why am I always wrong? And you get to act like you're right. These thoughts are running through my head, and I don't know what I should do. I'm afraid to commit to you. I don't know what to think about you. These thoughts are running through my head, and I don't know what I should do. I'm afraid to commit to you. I don't know what to think about you. I'm so tired of playing games. Playing games. 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 You tell me it's not you, and that the problem is me. All you seem to do is put the blame on me. You tell me it's not you, and that the problem is me. All you seem to do is put the blame on me. I'm so tired. Oh, I'm so tired of playing games. Playing games. Oh, playing games. I'm so tired of playing games. Playing games.
As you begin healing and shifting your patterns, it's important to know what healthy love actually looks like. One of the biggest green flags is consistent communication. Healthy partners don't leave you guessing. They show up, follow through, and communicate openly. Another green flag is respect for your boundaries. A healthy partner doesn't push past your limits or make you feel guilty for having needs. Instead, they honor your emotional space and support your growth. Emotional availability is another essential quality. A healthy partner is willing to share their feelings, listen to yours, and encourage meaningful conversations. They don't shut down, withdraw, or punish you for expressing yourself. Accountability is another green flag. Healthy partners take responsibility for their actions. They apologize when necessary, repair ruptures, and show a willingness to grow. You'll also notice mutual effort. Healthy partners are reciprocal. Both people invest, both people care, and both people equally show up. Finally, the connection feels steady, not chaotic. Healthy love doesn't feel like a roller coaster, it feels like a rhythm, each grounded and emotionally safe. You feel like you can be yourself without fear or judgment of abandonment. You also feel like you're not going to be abandoned for having opinions. When you begin to recognize these green flags, you start to understand what you truly deserve. And the more you heal, the more naturally you'll gravitate toward partners who embody these qualities. The song we're going to listen to today is by our podcast artist, Emery Rose, and it is called Tired of Playing Games. So here's the song, Tired of Playing Games, by our podcast artist, Emery Rose. As we wrap up today's episode, I want you to remember something very important. You are not doomed to repeat the same relationship patterns. The fact that you're here, listening and learning and reflecting means that you are already breaking the cycle. Healing doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen through awareness, compassion, and intentional choices. You deserve relationships that feel steady, mutual, and emotionally safe. You deserve partners who honor your boundaries, respect your needs, and meet you with consistency. And most importantly, you deserve to feel loved without having to sacrifice your sense of self. In today's episode, we talked about that. So if it resonated with you, I encourage you to take a moment this week to reflect on your patterns with compassion, not shame. Healing begins with understanding, and understanding leads to transformation. Next week, we're going to talk about another powerful topic that I know will support your journey toward healing and toward a healthier, more fulfilling relationship. And I can't wait to share it with you. But for today, thank you so much for being here, for doing this work, and for choosing relationships that reflect your healing. I'll see you next week. And until then, have an amazing day and an awesome weekend. Bye-bye.
To